Ethan Graves sighed as he walked through the dark, narrow streets of the city. He had just lost his job, his rent was overdue, and his car had broken down for the third time that month. Life was not going well. As he kicked a small rock in frustration, he noticed a strange pawn shop at the corner of the street. The sign above the door flickered weakly: "Cosmic Curiosities, Rare and Mysterious Finds." Ethan had never seen this shop before, but he had nothing better to do. The door creaked as he stepped inside. The shop was cluttered with all kinds of weird objects: old clocks, rusty swords, glowing stones, and things that looked straight out of a sci-fi movie. Behind the counter stood an old man with wrinkled skin and sharp golden eyes. "Looking for something special, my friend?" the old man asked, grinning. Ethan shrugged. "Just browsing. But I'm broke, so I doubt I can afford anything." The old man chuckled and reached under the counter. He pulled out a small metallic device that looked like a key fob with strange symbols etched on it. "For you, only $10, the shopkeeper said. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" "A remote. A toy." The old man leaned in, his golden eyes shining. "A spaceship." Ethan laughed. "Yeah, right." The shopkeeper remained serious. $10. No refunds. Ethan hesitated. He didn't believe the man, but something about the device felt different. What did he have to lose? With a sigh, he pulled out the last $10 bill in his wallet and handed it over. The moment he stepped outside, he examined the device more closely. "Well, let's see what this scam is about," he muttered, and pressed the button. A loud whoosh echoed through the air. The ground trembled slightly. Suddenly, a massive shadow fell over him. Ethan's mouth dropped open as he looked up. A gigantic spaceship materialized out of thin air, hovering above the abandoned parking lot. It was sleek, dark silver, and shaped like something out of a high-budget sci-fi film. The air around it shimmered as if reality itself was adjusting to its presence. The ship's ramp lowered with a soft hiss, and a voice echoed in his mind. "Welcome aboard, Captain." Ethan took a step back. No way. This has to be a dream. Before he could decide whether to run or scream, 3 figures appeared at the top of the ramp. They walked down with elegant, confident steps. As they stepped into the light, Ethan's brain nearly short-circuited. They were women. Stunning women. And they weren't human. One had shimmering silver hair and glowing blue eyes. The second had dark, sleek skin with golden markings that pulsed like living tattoos. The third had emerald green hair and slightly pointed ears. Their beauty was almost unreal. The silver-haired woman spoke first, her voice smooth and commanding. "You, human, are you the new captain of this ship?" Ethan blinked. His brain struggled to catch up. "Oh, what?" The golden-marked woman sighed. "This is going to be a problem." And just like that, Ethan's life changed forever. Ethan's heart pounded as he stared at the 3 alien women standing in front of him. They looked like something straight out of a sci-fi fantasy. Tall, elegant, and absolutely stunning. But the way they were looking at him made him nervous. The silver-haired woman stepped forward. Her glowing blue eyes studied him with curiosity and a hint of disappointment. "Are you the new captain of this ship?" she repeated. Ethan blinked. "Oh, I just bought a key fob for $10, and now there's a spaceship in front of me. I have no idea what's going on." The golden-marked woman sighed, crossing her arms. "This is a disaster." The green-haired one tilted her head, staring at him as if he were a strange creature in a zoo. A human. Interesting. Ethan held up his hands. "Okay, hold on. Who are you, and why are you on my ship?" The silver-haired woman straightened her posture, her voice calm but firm. "I am Princess Alara of the Celestian Dominion." She gestured toward the golden-marked woman. "This is Princess Xyra of the Zarian Empire." Then she pointed to the green-haired one. "And that is Princess Veseri of the Sylvan High Council." Ethan stared at them, then let out a short laugh. "Right. And I'm the king of Earth. Zyra's golden eyes narrowed. You doubt us? Ethan threw his hands in the air. Of course I doubt you. I was broke 5 minutes ago. And now you're telling me I own a spaceship and there are 3 alien princesses on board. That's insane. Alara exhaled and looked at the other two. We don't have time for this. The bounty hunters will be coming soon. Ethan froze. Bounty hunters? Wait. What? Veseri smiled, as if amused by his panic. All 3 of us are wanted by our own people. Each of our empires has put a price on our heads. Syrah clenched her fists. They want us dead or captured, and they won't stop until they find us. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. So let me get this straight. You're 3 alien princesses on the run from your own empires, and now that I own this ship, I'm also a target. Alara nodded. That is correct. Ethan groaned. Oh, fantastic. Just what I needed. A death sentence. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the ship. The walls flashed red. A mechanical voice spoke in a calm but urgent tone. Warning. Incoming hostile vessels detected. Estimated time before arrival. 5 minutes. Syrah grabbed Ethan by the arm. No more time for questions. You wanted this ship. Now you have to fly it. Ethan's eyes widened in horror. I don't know how to fly a spaceship. Veseri grinned. Well, Captain, you better learn fast. As the ship's engines roared to life, Ethan realized one thing. His boring, miserable life was officially over. Ethan barely had time to process what was happening before the entire ship rumbled beneath his feet. The alarms kept blaring, and red warning lights flashed across the walls. Incoming hostile vessels detected. Estimated time before arrival. 4 minutes. Ethan spun around, panicked. Okay, someone please tell me how to fly this thing. Alara pointed toward the control panel. The main pilot's seat. Sit there. Ethan hesitated, then rushed to the chair in the center of the bridge. It looked like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Holographic screens, glowing buttons, and a sleek control stick. He had no idea what to do. Zara slammed a button on the panel. Ship's AI. Respond. A smooth, mechanical voice answered. Sign 7 online. Awaiting command. Zara turned to Ethan. You're the captain now. The ship listens to you. Ethan gulped. Sign 7. Can you fly this thing? Affirmative. Activating automated piloting sequence. The ship suddenly roared to life. The engines thrummed, and the entire vessel began to rise. Ethan gripped the armrests as the floor beneath him vibrated with raw power. A holographic screen popped up, showing the enemy ships, 3 sleek black vessels, moving in fast. Alara's expression turned serious. Those are bounty hunter ships. If they disable our engines, we're dead. Ethan's heart pounded. Can't we just run? Veseri smirked. That is the plan. Sign 7's voice echoed through the ship. Calculating hyperspace jump. Estimated time. 2 minutes. Syrah cursed. That's too long. They'll catch us before then. Ethan gritted his teeth. Not if we fight back. Alara arched an eyebrow. Do you even know how to fight in space? Ethan glanced at the control panel. Nope. But I play a lot of video games. Veseri chuckled. This should be interesting. Ethan scanned the panel and spotted a glowing red button labeled Weapons System. He slammed his hand on it. Instantly, the ship's guns activated, locking onto the enemy vessels. Auto-targeting engaged. Firing in 3, 2, 1. The ship's cannons roared, sending bolts of energy through space. The enemy ships dodged, but one took a direct hit, spinning out of control. Zyra grinned. Not bad. Human. The bounty hunters returned fire. The ship shook violently as energy blasts hit the shields. Sparks flew from the walls, and the lights flickered. Sign 7 announced, shields at 60%. Hyperspace jump in 1 minute. Ethan gripped the control stick. Hold together, baby. Just a little longer. Alara's fingers danced across the control panel. I'm boosting shield power. That should buy us more time. Another explosion rocked the ship. A red warning flashed on the screen. Hull integrity compromised. Veseri gasped. They're trying to disable us before we can escape. Ethan growled. Not happening. He slammed another button. The ship suddenly spun, dodging the next volley of enemy fire. The move caught the bounty hunters off guard. Soin 7's voice rang out. Hyperspace, jump ready. Engaging now. A blinding flash of blue light filled the cockpit. The stars outside stretched into long streaks. And then, silence. Ethan let out a shaky breath. Did we make it? Soin 7 responded. Affirmative. Enemies evaded, entering safe space. Ethan leaned back, exhaling in relief. Holy crap. Zira crossed her arms. Not bad for a beginner. Alara smiled. You might actually survive this. Veseri winked. Captain Ethan, welcome to the adventure of a lifetime. Ethan groaned. I just wanted a cheap deal. Now I'm running from bounty hunters with 3 alien princesses. The 3 women exchanged glances and smirked. This was only the beginning. Ethan slumped in the captain's chair, his heart still racing from the space battle. His hands were sweaty, and his legs felt weak. He had just escaped death, but he knew it wouldn't be the last time. Alara, Syra, and Veseri stood around him, watching closely. You actually did well, Alara admitted. Clara scoffed. Barely. He got lucky. Ethan groaned. Hey, I did just survive my first space battle. A little appreciation wouldn't hurt. Veseri chuckled. Fine. Good job, Captain. Now, how about you actually learn how to fly this thing? Ethan blinked. Wait, you're serious. Alara crossed her arms. Of course. You own the ship. You're our captain. If you don't learn to control it, we won't last long. Ethan sighed. Great. More responsibility. Zyra pointed at the pilot's seat. Sit down. Ethan hesitated, then obeyed. The control panel in front of him was glowing with different buttons, levers, and holographic displays. It all looked way too complicated. Alara tapped the panel. The left side controls the thrusters. The right side handles weapons and shields. The middle display shows navigation. Ethan nodded slowly. Okay. And what's this big red button? Zyra's eyes widened. Don't touch that. Ethan pulled his hand back. What does it do? Veseri smirked. Self-destruct. Ethan's face went pale. Why do ships even have self-destruct buttons? Alara sighed. Focus, Captain. For the next hour, they trained him. Zyra taught him how to maneuver, turning, boosting, and dodging in space. Alara explained how to use the ship's energy efficiently between shields, weapons, and engines. Veseri showed him how to scan for threats and navigate hyperspace routes. Ethan struggled at first. The ship didn't handle like a car or a plane. It was something completely different. He oversteered, almost crashed into an asteroid, and accidentally fired a missile into empty space. Zyra groaned. By the stars, how did you even survive on your own planet? Ethan shot her a glare. Hey, Earth doesn't have spaceships. Cut me some slack. Veseri giggled. At least he's learning. After another few hours, Ethan was finally getting the hang of it. He wasn't perfect, but at least he could fly in a straight line without making the ship spin out of control. Just as he started feeling proud, the ship's AI, Soin 7, interrupted. Attention. Distress signal detected nearby. Alara's expression turned serious. A distress call. Ethan frowned. Someone needs help. Zyra shook her head. Or it's a trap. Veseri leaned against the wall. Either way, Captain, it's your call. Ethan stared at the blinking signal on the screen. This was it. His first real decision as captain. He took a deep breath. Let's check it out. The ship turned toward the signal, heading into the unknown. Ethan gripped the control stick tightly as the ship sliced through the vast emptiness of space. His mind was racing. A distress signal had led them to a small, hidden station on the edge of a dangerous asteroid field. The station wasn't on any of the regular star maps, which immediately made Ethan suspicious. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" he asked, glancing at Alara, who stood beside him, arms crossed. Alara studied the blinking signal on the screen. "It could be a trap, but we don't have many options. If someone needs help, we can't ignore it." Zyra sat nearby, sharpening a dagger with a grim expression. "I don't trust anything in this part of space. Pirates and criminals like to hide out here." Vesari, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "It's too quiet. No ships nearby. No signs of distress. This might be a setup." Ethan frowned, his grip on the controls tightening. "Well, if we're walking into a trap, at least we'll have the element of surprise." Alara gave him a wry smile. "You're learning." The station loomed ahead, a rusty, battered structure clinging to an asteroid, surrounded by nothing but darkness. It looked like something straight out of a horror movie. A flickering sign outside read, "The Lost Haven." Ethan hesitated for a moment, but the distress signal was still flashing, desperate for a response. "Okay, let's land. Let's see what's going on," Ethan decided. Scene 7's voice rang out. "Warning. Unknown ship signature detected. Possible hostile activity nearby." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Great, just what we needed. The ship descended toward the station's landing bay. The airlock doors creaked open, and they touched down with a soft thud. The moment the ramp lowered, an uncomfortable silence filled the air. No one greeted them. No one moved. Ethan exchanged a look with Alara. "Something's off." She nodded. "Stay alert. I don't like this." The princesses were all armed. Axira carried a sleek energy blade. Vesari had a heavy blaster strapped to her side. Alara, ever the diplomat, carried only a small dagger. Ethan felt a little out of place, standing there with no weapons, but he wasn't about to back down now. They stepped off the ship into the cold, dimly lit bay. The station was eerily quiet, too quiet. The walls were covered in grime, and the air smelled stale. It felt abandoned. "Hello," Ethan called, his voice echoing in the silence. "Anyone here?" Suddenly, a door at the far end of the bay slid open. Figures emerged from the shadows, tall, muscular beings wearing dark armor. Their faces were hidden behind helmets, and they walked with a slow, predatory pace. Well, one of them said in a low, gruff voice, "Look what we have here, lost little space travelers." Ethan's gut clenched. He recognized the voice. It was the unmistakable sound of a pirate. Alara stepped forward, her voice cool but firm. "We're not lost. We're here to help. Where is the distress signal coming from?" The pirate leader chuckled darkly. "Help. You're in the wrong place, princess. This isn't a place for helping. This is a place for taking." Zyra's hand moved toward her dagger. "Looks like we've walked into a pirate's den." Ethan's mind raced. He needed to think fast. He wasn't a trained fighter, but he wasn't going down without a fight. Then, as if on cue, Scene 7's voice rang out, interrupting the tense silence. "Warning. Energy signatures detected in nearby rooms. Hostile forces are closing in." Ethan swore under his breath. "We're surrounded." The pirate leader grinned. "That's right, human. Now, hand over everything you've got, and we might let you walk out of here alive." But Ethan wasn't going to back down. He quickly glanced at the ship's control panel and saw a red button, Weapon Systems, the same button he'd pressed during their earlier escape. He turned to Alara. "Time to make our own exit." With a deep breath, Ethan slammed his hand down on the button. The ship's weapon systems powered up with a violent hum. The pirates barely had time to react before the iron valve fired, blasting the station's docking bay door wide open. The pirates scattered as the ship's cannons cut through the air, leaving a path of destruction. "We're getting out of here," Ethan shouted, turning toward the ship. With the princesses following close behind, they ran back to the ship, narrowly dodging incoming fire. The ramp closed behind them, and the ship shot up into the air, narrowly avoiding a barrage of enemy blasts. As they made their escape, Ethan let out a relieved breath. That was way too close. Alara looked at him, her eyes filled with a strange mix of respect and amusement. "You're learning, Captain. I didn't think you'd have it in you." Tyra grinned. "I'll admit, I was impressed." Veseri laughed. "Not bad for a human who just bought his ship for $10. Ethan smirked, shaking his head. "You three make everything sound so easy." Ethan collapsed into the captain's chair, rubbing his temples. "Okay, let's all agree. No more distress signals." Alara sat beside him, shaking her head. "We can't just ignore people in danger, Ethan." Thyra scoffed. "That wasn't danger. That was a setup." Veseri stretched, leaning back against the wall. "Well, at least we survived. That's always a plus." Ethan groaned. "Barely." The Iron Vow soared through space, leaving the pirate-infested station far behind. The tension in the air slowly eased, but Ethan knew they had just made more enemies. Pirates didn't like being humiliated, and blowing up part of their base definitely put a target on their backs. Cyan 7's voice chimed in. "Alert. Incoming encrypted transmission. Sender unknown." Ethan sat up straight. Should we answer?" Alara nodded. "It could be important." Zyra frowned. "Or dangerous." Veseri grinned. "That makes it exciting." Ethan took a deep breath. "All right, put it through." A flickering hologram appeared on the main screen. A shadowy figure, wearing a dark cloak, leaned forward. A low, gravelly voice spoke. "Captain of the Iron Vow, you've caught my attention." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Yeah? And who are you?" The figure chuckled. "Call me Sargos. I run things in this sector." Tira crossed her arms. "He means he's a crime lord." Sargos smirked. "A businessman. And right now, you owe me." Ethan blinked. "Owe you? For what?" Sargos leaned forward. "That pirate station you just escaped from. It was under my protection." Ethan's stomach sank. "Oh." Sargos continued. "You destroyed part of my business. That costs me money. So now, you owe me." Alara's expression turned serious. "We had no choice. They attacked us first." Sargos waved a hand. "Doesn't matter. You're in my territory. That means you play by my rules." Ethan gritted his teeth. "And if we refuse?" Sargos smiled coldly. "Then you'll wish the bounty hunters got to you first." Zyra reached for her dagger. "I say we take our chances." Sargos chuckled. "Relax, warrior princess. I'm not unreasonable. I'll give you a way out." Ethan hesitated. "I'm listening." Sargos leaned back. "There's a shipment I need. Retrieved. A simple job. You do it, and we're even." Alara frowned. "What kind of shipment?" Sargos grinned. "Oh, nothing too illegal. Just a little cargo that was stolen from me. A ship carrying it is docked on a neutral planet. Dracos Prime." Veseri raised an eyebrow. "And you want us to steal it back?" Sargos nodded. "Exactly. Simple, right?" Ethan sighed. "And if we say no?" The crime lord's smile disappeared. "Then every bounty hunter, pirate, and mercenary in this sector will be looking for you." Ethan glanced at the princesses. He didn't like this, but they were out of options. "Fine," he said. "We'll do it." Sargos grinned. "Smart choice, Captain. I'll be waiting." The transmission cut off, and the room fell silent. Zyra muttered, "This is a terrible idea." Ethan exhaled. "Yeah, but if we don't do it, we're dead." Alara nodded. "Then we better prepare. Dracos Prime isn't exactly a friendly place." Ethan clenched his fists. Great. Another suicide mission. The Iron Vow changed course, heading toward its next destination, Dracos Prime. And deep down, Ethan knew this was only going to get worse. The Iron Vow raced through the cold expanse of space, heading toward Dracos Prime. The planet was a known neutral zone, but it wasn't friendly. It was a lawless, chaotic world where smugglers, pirates, and criminals of all kinds thrived. For Ethan and his crew, it was a place that felt like stepping into the lion's den. Ethan sat in the captain's seat, gripping the armrests tightly. He couldn't shake the unease in his chest. They had made a deal with Sargos, and now they were stuck with the consequences. I still don't like this, Kyra said, pacing back and forth behind him. We're walking right into the heart of a crime lord's territory. Ethan nodded. Yeah, well, we don't have a choice. If we refuse, we're as good as dead. Alara stood beside him, studying the data on the console. The planet's surface is full of crime syndicates. We'll need to be careful. We can't trust anyone. Vesari, who had been sitting quietly, now stood up with a grin. I like the sound of that. Not trusting anyone is my specialty. Ethan shot her a quick glance. You're just itching for a fight, aren't you? Vesari shrugged. Can't help it. It's in my blood. Alara sighed. If we're going to do this, we need a solid plan. The cargo Sargos wants us to steal is likely locked up tight. We'll need to be discreet. Ethan glanced at her. And if we can't be discreet? Alara's eyes darkened. Then we'll have to fight our way out. The ship shuddered slightly as they entered the outer atmosphere of Dracos Prime. Ethan braced himself as the planet's turbulent atmosphere pulled at the Iron Vow. CN7's voice came through the speakers. Entering orbit around Dracos Prime. Coordinates for docking station ready. Ethan nodded. All right, everyone. This is it. Let's do this by the book. They descended through the thick clouds and landed in a dimly lit, run-down docking bay. As soon as the ship's ramp lowered, a hot, humid breeze hit their faces. The air was thick with the scent of oil, metal, and something far less pleasant. Welcome to Dracos Prime, Tyra muttered, looking around. The station was a maze of rusting structures, abandoned ships, and shady figures lurking in the shadows. Scavengers, mercenaries, and traders huddled in corners, making deals that looked less than legal. It wasn't the place to make friends. Ethan motioned for the group to stay close. Let's find the ship carrying the cargo. We'll grab it and get out fast. They walked through the crowded bay, trying to blend in with the other travelers. Ethan noticed a few eyes following them, but no one said anything. Not yet. After a few minutes, they spotted a large transport ship docked at the far end of the bay. The cargo hold was sealed tight, but there was a guard standing near the entrance, looking bored. Alara leaned in. I'll handle this. Keep an eye on the surroundings. Ethan nodded. You sure? She gave him a reassuring smile. I've got this. Alara strode toward the guard with confidence, her posture graceful yet commanding. She spoke to him in a low, calm voice, her tone polite but firm. Ethan couldn't hear the exact words, but the guard was visibly relaxing, nodding along. Zyra whispered, How does she do that? Vesari shrugged. She's a princess. She knows how to get people to do what she wants. Minutes passed, and Alara returned, her face a little more serious than before. The cargo is inside, but there's a catch. Ethan raised an eyebrow. What kind of catch? Alara's voice dropped. The cargo isn't just stolen. It's valuable. Too valuable. It's got the signature of a major crime syndicate on it. If we take it, we're not just dealing with Sargos. We're dealing with everyone who wants that shipment. Zyra scowled. Great. So we're going to have a lot of enemies. Vesari grinned. I think that just makes it more fun. Ethan rubbed his face. This just keeps getting worse. But there was no turning back. They had already committed to the job. The only thing left to do was to grab the cargo and make their escape before the entire planet came down on them. "Let's move out," Ethan said, feeling the weight of the decision on his shoulders. The crew followed him as they made their way to the transport ship, ready for whatever awaited them. They had no idea that this simple mission was about to pull them into a war that would change everything. The quiet hum of the iron vow was the only sound as it hovered just outside the cargo ship. The crew was ready. They had the coordinates. They knew what they had to do. But the feeling of unease still lingered in the air. Draco's Prime was dangerous, and the cargo they were about to steal was more valuable than they had expected. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. "All right," Ethan said, looking at his crew. "This is it. We get the cargo, we leave, and we're done. Simple, right?" Alara, who had remained silent for most of the journey, nodded. "Simple, but nothing is ever that easy on this planet." Zyra checked her dagger. "Agreed. We need to be quick and quiet. If things go south, we fight our way out. No hesitation." Vaseri grinned, pulling out her blaster. "I'm always ready for a good fight." Ethan took a deep breath, pushing aside his doubts. "Okay, let's get in and out." They landed the Iron Vow a few hundred meters from the transport ship. The docking bay was empty, but the air was thick with tension. Every sound seemed louder here, like someone was watching them. As the ramp lowered, Ethan led the way. They quickly made their way to the transport ship, moving with purpose but trying to stay as quiet as possible. They didn't know how many guards were inside, but they couldn't afford to take any chances. Alara checked her communicator. "The cargo hold is locked tight, but there's a terminal nearby. I can hack into it and open the door." Zira kept watch while Alara worked on the terminal. The minutes felt like hours. Ethan kept his hand on his blaster, feeling the weight of it like it was an anchor to reality. "Done," Alara said quietly. The cargo hold door slid open with a soft hiss. Ethan nodded. "Let's go." They entered the cargo hold, and Ethan's eyes immediately landed on the large crates stacked neatly in the corner. They were exactly what they were looking for. The shipment Sargos wanted. "Looks like we've got company," Vasari muttered, her voice low. Ethan turned to see a figure moving toward them, his silhouette barely visible in the dim light. The man stepped into the light, revealing himself to be a tall, broad-shouldered guard, holding a rifle. "Not so fast," the guard said, a smirk on his face. "I've been waiting for you." Ethan's heart raced. This was it. They had been found. "Who sent you?" Alara asked, stepping forward. She tried to use her calm, commanding voice, but the guard didn't flinch. "Does it matter?" he replied. "You're not leaving with that cargo." Before anyone could react, a group of armed mercenaries appeared from the shadows, surrounding them. Ethan's stomach dropped. This wasn't just a regular security force. These were professionals. "We were hoping you'd try something," the leader of the mercenaries said, grinning. "Now, you're our guests." Ethan's mind raced. He had a plan, but it was risky. He turned to his crew. "We're not giving up the cargo. Get ready." Zyra and Vasari immediately moved into position, weapons ready. Alara, surprisingly, stayed calm. "We have one chance at this." The mercenaries raised their weapons, but before they could fire, Ethan pressed a button on his wrist. The Iron Vow systems activated, and the ship's cannons fired a single warning shot, striking the ground near the mercenaries. "Move," Ethan shouted. In a blur, Tyra charged forward, slicing through the nearest mercenary with her energy blade. Vasari fired her blaster, knocking out another guard. Ethan and Alara followed suit, moving quickly and efficiently. It was chaos. The mercenaries weren't prepared for the intense, sudden assault. But even as they fought their way through, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. These mercenaries were too organized. It felt like they had known they were coming. The last of the guards fell, and the crew stood, panting, in the middle of the cargo hold. "We're done," Zyra said, her voice cold. But Ethan wasn't convinced. No, we're not done yet. As they began loading the cargo onto the ship, Alara spoke. The problem isn't just the mercenaries. It's Sargos. He planned this from the beginning. We were set up. Ethan's blood ran cold. What do you mean? Alara's face was grim. This cargo isn't just valuable. It's dangerous. And Sargos isn't the only one who wants it. Ethan's eyes widened. Then we're walking right into a trap. The Iron Vow was ready for takeoff, but they all knew that their mission was far from over. The real battle was just beginning. The Iron Vow blasted off from Dracos Prime, its engines roaring as it tore through the planet's thick atmosphere. Inside the ship, Ethan gripped the controls tightly, his knuckles white. "We made it," Veseri said, slumping into her seat. "That was way too close." Zaira checked her blaster. "Something's not right. Those mercenaries were waiting for us. Someone tipped them off." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Yeah, and I think I know who." Alara looked at him, eyes filled with suspicion. "Sargos." Ethan nodded. "He set us up. This was never about the cargo. He wanted us to steal it so we'd take the heat for him." Sign 7's voice echoed through the ship. Incoming transmission from Sargos. Ethan clenched his teeth. "Put it through." The holographic image of Sargos appeared on the screen, his grin as smug as ever. "Ah, Captain Ethan, I see you've made it out alive. Impressive." Ethan crossed his arms. "You knew those mercenaries would be there." Sargos chuckled. "Of course I did. That cargo belonged to the Crimson Syndicate, one of the most dangerous crime organizations in the galaxy. By stealing it, you just made them your enemy." Zaira scowled. "And you get to walk away clean." Sargos smirked. "Exactly. I needed someone foolish enough to do the job for me. And you fit the role perfectly." Ethan's fingers curled into fists. "You used us." Sargos leaned forward. "It's just business, Captain. But I'm a fair man. Deliver the cargo to me, and I'll consider us even." Alara's eyes burned with fury. "And let you profit from this while we take the blame." "Not a chance." Sargos sighed. "I was hoping you'd say that, which is why I took precautions." Sign 7's voice interrupted. "Warning. Multiple ships approaching at high speed." Ethan's stomach dropped. He turned to the screen and saw red blips swarming toward them. A fleet. Sargos grinned. "That would be the Crimson Syndicate. They tracked the cargo to your ship. You have two choices, Captain. Deliver the cargo to me, or get blown out of the sky." The transmission cut off. Silence filled the cockpit. The weight of the situation sank in. "We can't give it to him," Alara said firmly. "This cargo is more than just valuable. It's dangerous." Sierra narrowed her eyes. "Then we fight." Ethan exhaled slowly. "No, we do something smarter." He turned back to the controls, a dangerous glint in his eyes. "We're going to play Sargos and the Crimson Syndicate against each other." Veseri grinned. "Now that sounds fun." The Iron Vow changed course, heading straight into the storm of enemy ships. The final battle was about to begin. The Iron Vow raced through the cold expanse of space, heading toward Dracos Prime. The planet was a known neutral zone, but it wasn't friendly. It was a lawless, chaotic world where smugglers, pirates, and criminals of all kinds thrived. For Ethan and his crew, it was a place that felt like stepping into the lion's den. Ethan sat in the captain's seat, gripping the armrests tightly. He couldn't shake the unease in his chest. They had made a deal with Sargos, and now they were stuck with the consequences. "I still don't like this," Kyra said, pacing back and forth behind him. "We're walking right into the heart of a crime lord's territory." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, well, we don't have a choice. If we refuse, we're as good as dead." Alara stood beside him, studying the data on the console. "The planet's surface is full of crime syndicates. We'll need to be careful. We can't trust anyone." Vesari, who had been sitting quietly, now stood up with a grin. I like the sound of that. Not trusting anyone is my specialty. Ethan shot her a quick glance. You're just itching for a fight, aren't you? Veseri shrugged. Can't help it. It's in my blood. Alara sighed. If we're going to do this, we need a solid plan. The cargo Sargos wants us to steal is likely locked up tight. We'll need to be discreet. Ethan glanced at her. And if we can't be discreet? Alara's eyes darkened. Then we'll have to fight our way out. The ship shuddered slightly as they entered the outer atmosphere of Draco's Prime. Ethan braced himself as the planet's turbulent atmosphere pulled at the iron vow. CN7's voice came through the speakers. Entering orbit around Draco's Prime. Coordinates for docking station ready. Ethan nodded. All right, everyone. This is it. Let's do this by the book. They descended through the thick clouds and landed in a dimly lit, run-down docking bay. As soon as the ship's ramp lowered, a hot, humid breeze hit their faces. The air was thick with the scent of oil, metal, and something far less pleasant. Welcome to Draco's Prime, Tyra muttered, looking around. The station was a maze of rusting structures, abandoned ships, and shady figures lurking in the shadows. Scavengers, mercenaries, and traders huddled in corners, making deals that looked less than legal. It wasn't the place to make friends. Ethan motioned for the group to stay close. Let's find the ship carrying the cargo. We'll grab it and get out fast. They walked through the crowded bay, trying to blend in with the other travelers. Ethan noticed a few eyes following them, but no one said anything. Not yet. After a few minutes, they spotted a large transport ship docked at the far end of the bay. The cargo hold was sealed tight, but there was a guard standing near the entrance, looking bored. Alara leaned in. I'll handle this. Keep an eye on the surroundings. Ethan nodded. You sure? She gave him a reassuring smile. I've got this. Alara strode toward the guard with confidence, her posture graceful yet commanding. She spoke to him in a low, calm voice, her tone polite but firm. Ethan couldn't hear the exact words, but the guard was visibly relaxing, nodding along. Zyra whispered, How does she do that? Veseri shrugged. She's a princess. She knows how to get people to do what she wants. Minutes passed, and Alara returned, her face a little more serious than before. The cargo is inside, but there's a catch. Ethan raised an eyebrow. What kind of catch? Alara's voice dropped. The cargo isn't just stolen. It's valuable. Too valuable. It's got the signature of a major crime syndicate on it. If we take it, we're not just dealing with Sargos. We're dealing with everyone who wants that shipment. Zyra scowled. Great. So we're going to have a lot of enemies. Veseri grinned. I think that just makes it more fun. Ethan rubbed his face. This just keeps getting worse. But there was no turning back. They had already committed to the job. The only thing left to do was to grab the cargo and make their escape before the entire planet came down on them. Let's move out, Ethan said, feeling the weight of the decision on his shoulders. The crew followed him as they made their way to the transport ship, ready for whatever awaited them. They had no idea that this simple mission was about to pull them into a war that would change everything.